Hello, it's Jeff Gardner here. For this episode, I wanted to talk about something known as gang stalking, and it's also known as targeted individuals. So, yeah, this is a conspiracy theory that a lot of people believe that people can get like mind controlled and like they'll hear voices in their heads and stuff like that. And through like, there's a variety of reasons, but basically it's like radio waves that they'll be targeted and victimized, terrorized like this for a variety of purposes. And yeah, I've looked into this conspiracy theory, and yeah, it seems like it's not as far-fetched as it might initially sound. So, like, I did an episode about flat Earth before, where right off the bat, I wanted to point out some really great resources like Eric Dubay and Eddie Bravo, videos they've done, discussions about it. So the episode I want to point out right off the bat, a really good, like, relatively, like, an easily accessible video about this. There's a show called, I think it was, Conspiracy Theory with Jesse Ventura. And yeah, he talked about this topic a bit, like mind control kind of stuff. And if I'm remembering it correctly, I think he might have related it to like government experiments that they've done, or like MK Ultra, stuff like that. And that there's one part in the video where they have some sort of like computer with like a miniature radio or whatever pointing at him, and he's wearing like headphones, and he could hear like a radio, and then like I forget if he took off the headphones or what, but it was like as if he could hear a voice inside of his head just because of the radio being pointed at him. It wasn't like coming just from like headphones. It's been a while since I've seen that video. So yeah, it's probably without the headphones, if I'm remembering correctly. But either way, my point is like, yeah, so like he concluded that like, yeah, it's not as far-fetched, I guess, that there could be technology like this, and that I'm not necessarily saying it's the government or what, but just that it could be utilized like this kind of stuff. Like there's an old movie kind of about like MK Ultra stuff called Jacob's Ladder. It's a horror movie. It's really good. So like that, even though that was fiction, it was like based on some things that are real. Kind of like how when I write my books, they're based on conspiracy theories, urban legends, things that I think are, a lot of them are real, even if my works are fiction, that sort of thing. So yeah, check that movie out. Yeah, if you've never seen it, it's a good movie, old movie, Jacob's Ladder. I think it's from the 90s. Yeah, like how I said before, 90s just had so many great movies back then. And yeah, so anyway, Jesse Ventura, he talks about, yeah, how he's kind of suspicious that, yeah, it seems like something might be going on here regarding gang stalking or targeted individuals. Those are both terms referring to this, basically the same thing. And yeah, I've looked into it, and I think the evidence is pretty compelling. That it's disturbing, but yeah, like this type of stuff seems like it's going on, and I wish that weren't the case, but I'm just telling it like it is. I'm telling you my honest thoughts. Hopefully I don't get gang stalked or whatever for making this video. I guess I'm taking that risk, but just as how I took a risk with the flat earth video and other videos I've made. I made a video, one of my previous videos, saying I'm F. Gardner's message to the Illuminati, saying, well, if you don't want me to talk about this type of stuff, you're going to have to pay me whatever millions of dollars. My silence won't come, cheap. It won't come cheaply. So like, I'm a reasonable guy. If they, if they don't like me talking about this stuff, that's what it's going to take. Whatever millions of dollars, we could talk about it. So yeah, Illuminati, again, yeah, so, yo, shout out to the Illuminati. If you're watching this video, obviously you are. Yeah, leave a comment down below. And like I said before, like, whatever, just give me a figure, rough estimate, like, yo, we'll give you $20 million if you stop talking about this stuff, F. Gardner. And we could talk about it, whatever. I'm a reasonable guy. We can reach a an agreement in that regard. But yeah, like I said, I'm not gonna do anything evil for you guys. So don't think I'm, you're gonna get F. Gardner to do something evil. No, but I'm a reasonable guy. We can negotiate whatever. If you don't like me talking about this stuff. Anyway, yeah. So I wrote a book. One of my 13 horror novels. As of now, I have 13 horror novels. My Horrors Call series. You could read them in like any order. They're kind of like self-contained. You could read them in any order. I thought that was a good way to write a book series for horror fiction. But they have little connections here and there, reoccurring characters, and they're all set in Chicago. That's where I live. So anyway, one of those books is called Reptilian Odyssey. And yeah, gang stalking and targeted individuals that plays a part in the plot. I don't want to spoil my own book, but yeah, if you're interested, check that out. I combined it with the reptilian conspiracy theory, hence the title Reptilian Odyssey, because I think that's very interesting too. And I believe reptilians exist. Maybe not in the exact same manner a lot of people do, since I'm Buddhist. Since I'm a Buddhist flat earther, I'm inclined to think, yeah, perhaps there are Nagas, reptilian entities in Buddhism. But I think maybe there's a connection between gang stalking, targeted individuals, and reptilians, honestly. And so, yeah, while that book is fiction, I base it on parts that things that I think are true or have a lot of evidence for it, like conspiracies, urban legends, whatever. I try to mix in things like interesting horror topics or topics for horror novels that could work in horror fiction with like conspiracies and urban legends that I think are real or probably real or have compelling evidence. And yeah, I'm not aware of anyone else doing that before. I think that's part of what makes that book, that particular book, unique. And yeah, the feedback I've gotten from that book is great. It's phenomenal. People seem to really love that one, which I'm very grateful for. It always makes me really happy to hear that when people like my books. So yeah, I think maybe there is a connection, because you hear about reptilians like talking, speaking, whatever, communicating telepathically or like with their minds. And there seems to be like a lot of overlap. And I think there might be more connections between the two topics, gang stalking and reptilians, than most people think. Like, yeah, Jesse Ventura, he also had an episode about reptilians on that show, on his conspiracy theory show. And yeah, he didn't believe it at all, from what I'm remembering, the reptilian thing, and that's fine. He's entitled to his opinion. But reptilians, yeah, the title of, like, just saying reptilians, that name, or lizard people, it sounds far out. It sounds whatever, silly or crazy, whatever, when you first say that. But then when you explain to somebody, well, what about aliens? Like, because, like, okay, so even though I'm a flat earther, I don't believe in aliens as in space, but interdimensionally, since I don't believe aliens really exist in the sense of outer space, since I don't believe outer space exists, since I'm a Buddhist flat earther. But interdimensionally, that makes sense, especially if you look at it from like religious perspectives too. Like, that's another thing. Like, it doesn't sound as crazy, reptilians, when you compare it to like demons or fallen angels or Nagas in Buddhism. So yeah, you kind of need to describe it to people like that. Like, well, what about aliens? Whether you think they're from space I don't believe outer space exists, but if you believe it exists, fine. So you say aliens, relating it to reptilians, because if you look at drawings they'll have of aliens, they do look like reptilians. And same with a lot of drawings of demons and nagas from Buddhism, the lizard-like beings, entities from Buddhism. So yeah, suddenly when you compare them to aliens and demons, reptilians, it doesn't seem that crazy if it's someone who believes in either aliens or demons or both. So what I'm proposing is that we're talking about possibly the same creatures, entities, however you want to phrase that. So yeah, I think there could be, I think there's a very likely connection between the two, because you hear like people talk about, like if they get in this weird state of meditation, they could, or trance, or even dreams, they can see what looks kind of like demonic or alien or reptilian like faces. Excuse me. And yeah, I talked about that in my reptilian video. So yeah, if you're interested in that, check that video out. And that's not, again, not to say anything bad about meditation. I meditate all the time. I'm a Buddhist. There's nothing wrong with it. But yeah, if you were to encounter something like that, you need to tell yourself that it's just trying to mess with you. Don't give it any power. It's not going to have power over you then, unless you're giving it that power. That's kind of like the Buddhist thought. Well, not just the Buddhist thought. It's kind of like that, I guess, in Abrahamic faiths too. Like you don't give them, like if it's a demon, don't give it power. And whether it's in like a meditative state, a trance or a dream or nightmare, out of body experience, whatever, if something like that happens, yes, so don't give it power over you, because maybe it has these like gang stalking abilities, mind control, whatever, however you want, because yeah, they're commonly like described as like, or having these sort of powers, like psychic powers. And that doesn't mean psychic powers are bad necessarily. I don't mean like that, no. But using it like a weapon, like how you can use anything, well, not anything, but you can use a sword as a weapon, but you can use it to defend yourself, whatever. It's a tool. It's a weapon, but you can use it for different purposes, different ways. You can use it for good, you could use it for evil. So it's like, yeah, maybe there are these beings that have telepathy, mind control, whatever, that kind of thing. And maybe, yeah, technology that exists that can do that too. Yeah, I believe that. Definitely. I think that just makes sense. Like, it's just like a radio, you point it at anything at whatever certain frequency. And you can cause someone to hear something in their head or whatever. And so that would explain that part to me, that, yeah, this technology exists and that there are these reptilian-like beings that have the same sort of powers. So whether that's these reptilian whatever entities, or via like technology, that you know, just makes complete sense to me, that would explain gang stalking. And yeah, I've read so many stories about this topic, and I don't mean fictional stories, but like personal, not my experiences, but like other people, like I'll read online, like to talk about this stuff, and they're just they're very consistent. And when something is consistent, that tells you, okay, there's got to be truth to this. Every little thing is a coincidence. I mean, you could believe that if you want, but I don't. Most of the time, the vast majority of the time, like it means it's not a coincidence. Like a detective doesn't suddenly just, if he gives a billion whatever clues or whatever pointing him in the same direction, he doesn't just dismiss them all as coincidences. That's like illogical. There's no reason to, like, that would be, he would be a terrible detective if that's what he did. So it's that sort of thing. I try to look at things like that as like with an open mind, even if it sounds far-fetched or whatever. I try to have an open mind and yeah, just form my own conclusions about it, as you should too. So yeah, let me know what you think. Comment down below. Tell me what you think about this, about gang stalking, targeted individuals. If you think it's true, or if you think it's total bullshit, feel free to let me know. I have an open mind. If you think I'm totally wrong about this, that's fine. I respect your opinion. You could let me know. You could say, no, I think I totally disagree, F. Gardner. I think you're wrong. I think this is like totally a BS conspiracy that it isn't real. You're entitled to believe that if you want, and I'll hear you out. Like, I never stay married to one whatever decision or idea, in the sense that I always have an open mind into considering the idea that the possibility that I could be wrong. That's difficult to do. And I don't mean that as in like that makes me smarter than everybody, no. But I do try to do that, and we're all biased one way or another, certain different things. So I try not to do that. I try to have an open mind as much as possible, and that can be very difficult. That oftentimes means challenging your beliefs, and that's difficult. But I just want the truth. And for this topic, gang stalking, target individuals, yeah, I think it's real. And it's freaky. I hope it doesn't happen to me, like I said, for making this video. But they're gonna have to pay me millions of dollars or whatever to shut me up. If the Illuminati or the Reptilians, whatever, don't like me talking about this. So I hope everyone liked this video. Yeah, this is a topic I hear mentioned very frequently. I knew I was going to talk about it eventually. So hopefully everyone liked this. Yeah, look into it. It's a fascinating topic. And shout out to Jesse Ventura, since I mentioned your show over at your old conspiracy theory show. Yeah, Jesse, you rock. You're the man. So yeah, if you're watching, Jesse, leave a comment down below. Oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't just say Jesse. You're the governor, Mr. Governor. Sorry, I don't want to sound flip. I don't mean that to sound disrespectful. I could sometimes just kind of be casual kind of talking guy. I don't mean that to sound disrespectful. Just saying, Jesse, I should say Mr. Governor, so Governor Ventura. If you're watching and you're a fan of my videos, so F. Gardner's a fan of you too. I think you rock. And yeah, click subscribe, and I'd appreciate that. And comment down below. Tell me your thoughts on the matter. If you've learned anything new, if you've discovered anything new. Because your old show, Conspiracy Theory, yeah, that was really good. I like that. I think I've seen every episode, yeah. And I wish there was more. Yeah, I think I remember reading that it got canceled, and that when I heard that, I was like, it made me suspicious. Like, whoa, why did they cancel that? What is it? Are they going to try to do that to me, to F. Gardner? Are they going to ban my YouTube channel for talking about, some of the flat Earth and this gang stalking, other stuff like that? Well, who knows? Enjoy it while I can. Hope you guys like this video. Catch everybody later. Bye.